Hello all, and welcome to tonight's beer review, which I'm dubbing the haircut beer review because I got a haircut, and it's actually not night yet. It's late afternoon, 4:30, and Chicken's outside. I tried to record the review earlier, but as soon as I start recording the review, he starts moving around, and I'm trying to stay still, and it just wasn't working. So he's out there, and hey, stop wandering off now. He's out there and enjoying the afternoon sunlight and throwing himself every now and then against the window trying to get in. He's really attached to me. I only got him when he was 2 weeks old, so I'm sort of mama figure for him. So what are we reviewing tonight? Well, as I noted in my last review, I'm going to try to focus mostly on local products. And so Three Peaks Hawaii is a new growler fill place that's opened up near where I live, and it focuses primarily on Hawaii brewed beers. And as such, you know, I could review a new item every week and never really run out. And that's because it cycles so quickly. I'm not going to be able to touch it all, so I could focus on local beers almost exclusively from now on. So some people might find that good, some people might find that bad. I know my most popular things are expensive whiskey reviews, but hey, what can I say? So what are we reviewing today in this growler? Well, it comes from Beer Lab Hawaii. What is Beer Lab Hawaii? Beer Lab Hawaii is a sort of a nano brewery by the University of Hawaii campus, and it focuses on sort of out there experimental beers. They don't really have any flagship beers. They are constantly, like their name says, Beer Lab, they're constantly trying to experiment with beers. And so today's beer is called Super Saison. Yes, play off of Super Saiyan, from Dragon Ball Z. And what that is a Belgian or French Saison that's been amped up to Imperial strength. Most Saisons are fairly low table weight ABV, between 4 and 5% ABV. This one is 9.2. And it's been brewed with Brettanomyces and also with rye and wheat. Now, wheat's not too out there, but rye in the Saison is. And because it's been brewed with Brettanomyces, Brettanomyces bacteria, it's got a lot of funk to it. A lot of funk, a lot of alcohol. It is, all in all, an out there beer. And that's sort of what Beer Lab Hawaii kind of specializes in. And I didn't get a chance to review. I've been drinking for like the past couple of months. I only took a month-long break. I didn't get a chance to review another really out there beer that they had, but I'm looking forward to kind of reviewing everything that they have that shows up on that list, because it's just so, it pushes the limits, and I like that. So, without further ado, we're already 3.5 minutes in. Let's go and review this beer, shall we? We're going to be using the Belgian glass, of course. So, how does a 9.2 ABVs work? Well, we'll see. And I forgot it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to open this. There we go. It's pressurized. Oopsie. Spilt some down the side. Woo. Oh well. Such are the vicissitudes of life, as I like to say. So I've been letting this warm up a little bit too much, even for my tastes. It's a dark golden orange color with a thick, fluffy white head. Big phenolic smells, big funk. Got cloves. Huge bubble gum, like juicy fruit almost. You know juicy fruit gum? Think all those sort of really phenolic Belgian notes and just turn it up to 11. Sweetness. Cereal grains underneath that. And I'm going to go and throw this inside the refrigerator because I kind of want it to chill up a little bit more for the next glass. So I got to go and finish this growler. This is open. I don't even know if you heard me talking. But let's get to this. So very strong phenolic smells. The taste is a real slap in the face. Big funk, big farmhouse funk, you know, that sort of hay, you know that smell that you get in a farmhouse, that's somewhat pleasant, of cut and mown hay, as well as the distant smell of manure, not manure straight up, but, you know, funkiness, farmhouse kind of smell. Sort of a rindy bitterness in the mid to finish. It doesn't really linger. The sweetness throughout, or almost a rock candy sweetness throughout. Big graininess in the middle. The wheat kind of shows up a bit more there. I'm not really getting too much rye. No, I take that back. There's a bit of that spice in the front to the mids, but not too much of the citrus that kind of shows up from rye. A drawback is that this is very, very boozy, especially in the mids. Boozy to the point that you almost feel alcohol heat. Carbonation bite is soft and mostly in the front. Don't worry about it. When I'm looking at there, I'm just checking to make sure he hasn't wandered off. Almost wine-like effervescent notes, and I sort of attribute that to the, you know, the heaviness of this. The IBU is pretty low, but as I've mentioned, the ABV is really high. And I guess the thing about the Saison style is it's not really a style that's meant to go and hide alcohol. Certain styles hide alcohol better than others due to the intensity of the malts, the hops, or both. This one, Brett doesn't really hide alcohol all that well. So while we have that sort of intense phenolic taste, especially up front, you know, cloves, it's kind of interplaying with a heavy booziness. Still, it's not obnoxious, it's not unpleasant to drink, it's just something that, you know, as they say in one of my favorite YouTube channels, you know, Hydraulic Press channel, it must be dealt with. You know, so if you're someone who really can't handle booziness in heavier beers, this might be something that, you know, wouldn't be up your alley. Well, it probably wouldn't be up your alley because you have to be in Hawaii and be in Hawaii in the next 2 months to kind of try this, but you know what I mean. All in all, there's not much delicacy here. It is big in all senses of the word. You know, so I think while it is interesting to see what it is like to have a amped up Saison, a Saison does not take being amped up as well as a stout or an IPA does, mainly because it's just something that deals with a delicate nuance a little bit better. At the same time, it's something that's not unpleasant to drink. It's just something that's really out there. Now, if you're a big fan of Farmhouse Funk, yeah, you'll probably dig this. It's really quite intense, that farmhouse and the phenolic aspect. But, like I said, high booziness and, kind of very blunt as a beer goes. Still, well worth, trying. Well worth the experiment. I want them to kind of push the envelope here, because they're not just pushing the envelope by brewing these amped up ones, they're also brewing Berliner Weisses, and I'd like to go and see them really take things in other directions too. One thing that I'd like to go and see is kind of redefining sessionable beers, the non-sour, non-session IPA sessionable beers, and kind of experimenting with that. What can we do to change flavor? What can we do to, change the attenuation, coloration, all these different things. There's so much to experiment yet with in beer because, beer is so wide open. What I'd like to see, a very high rye session ale. That would be something that's interesting to me. Probably be kind of difficult. Might not have a good result. Like I said, if you go and look at their blog, they spent several months sort of experimenting with this before they released it. Experimental process, especially the first few iterations, I'm guessing were not quite successful, but they came to something that is somewhat interesting, somewhat drinkable. If a bit out there, that's what it's supposed to be. Beer Lamp Away. Super Saison. It's a real Kamehameha to your palate. I just saw that one at the last moment. Oh god, it was a horrible pun, wasn't it? Yep. Cheers, folks.